Hi guys, I am outside today. It is so nice. It is actually also quite cold. It is snowing a little bit. I hope you can see the little snow there. I'm sitting right by the Bow River in Banff, Alberta today, and just from the corner, there's the Bow Falls, but it's a little hard to go up this step and come down because it's a little slippery. So I thought this is a nice spot for me to sit and chat with you guys this beautiful Saturday. And because it's snowing so much, it doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it is. I'm going to keep myself covered in my beautiful red jacket. This is my I Am Being Seen jacket for 2026. And so I'm glad that you guys can see it. Maybe I should stand up so you guys can. It's a bit, it's very nice and long. It comes all the way down to my ankle. So this channel really is for people who wants to begin again. And it doesn't really matter what age you are, whether you're 15 or you're 20 or in your 40s or your 50s or your 60s or your 70s, and you want to begin again, which is like saying it's never too late. But I feel like never too late is all used up. So I'm going to use let's begin again. And please know that there's no such thing as failure. I know you're coming for me. What do you mean, Jean? There is failure. We fail. Well, you as a person is not a failure. It's what you're doing, it's the performance in what you're doing that is failing. But as a human, as yourself, you're not a failure. But that's where, that's the distinction that we don't get and we don't understand. So when we do something and it doesn't work out for us, we think that we personally failed. And that failure or that feeling that we have failed and everything that comes with it, like the shame of feeling embarrassment and what would people think, and that stop us from moving forward, that stop us from beginning again, that stop us from doing the things that we really wanted to do. So I am encouraging you to begin again and understand that. So, for instance, if this YouTube streets that I'm walking on these days, if that doesn't work out for me, do you think I'm going to spend time crying and say that I failed? I'm not going to do that because I personally haven't failed. The channel has failed. The performance in the channel has failed, but I haven't. Do you get that? Do you understand that perspective? As opposed to roasting me on a fire and say, yes, Jean, we are all failures. Yeah, I get to tell you, I have more wisdom than you because I'm older than you. Well, that's for all the people that is younger than me, right? So here is the thing. Don't forget to subscribe and like my channel because you subscribing and liking my channel is going to help me grow this channel a lot. And that is a free thing. You helping me in that way is going to benefit my retirement plan. And yes, guys, we have to have one because the system wasn't set up for us to be successful in the way that we thought we were going to be, or, what we thought we were going to be at certain time in our life. Because I got to tell you, the amount of people I'm hearing the story of, I thought I was going to be at least here by now. I thought when I was 30, I would already have the white picket fence, the 1.2 kids, the husband that just love and kiss me. That isn't a movie. Right now, life do not life itself, but the economy, the big corporation, they don't pay us enough for us to really have a proper plan, especially when you're a single person. I live in Kenmore, but even though I leave and I move to Toronto, or I move to Vancouver, or I move to Calgary, it doesn't really matter where I'm going to move to. Rent is still going to cost me at least $2,000. And if I'm sharing, it's still going to cost me the fact that I have to live with people and pay rent, you know? And if you are not, earning $2,000 a month, yeah, you do the math. You tell me how you're going to make it, how you're going to survive, right? But actually, today I want to discuss this whole idea of, where we are. I had some work to do today. And, from the time I wake up the morning, I felt a little bit anxious because I was feeling anxious over the fact that I was like, wow, I have so much stuff to do. It's this whole, it's like a lot. And when I think about it from the amount of stuff I have to do, I start feeling anxiety. But the minute time I started doing it, I realized that all I have to do is to start, do one at a time. And instead of looking to see where I'm going, because it is so far ahead, I decide to look at the amount that I have done, right? So, how much have I done already, as opposed to how much more do I have to go, you know? Um, Not too long ago, I was listening to Oprah and Ilania Van Zant. I don't know if you guys know Ilania Van Zant. You probably know Oprah, but Ilania Van Zant is this spiritual guru. Oh, you might know her. She used to be, well, she is back there now, but she used to do a segment, a program on television called Ilania Fix My Life. So if you know about the Fix My Life lady, oh, look, see, I think I'm looking. Do you see? Maybe I get better. Is the sun over there? Uh, I just want to make sure that I have the light because when you're dark, you need a light. Yeah, so Ivania used to do the Fix My Life show, and everybody loved that show so much, and they wanted to come back. Um, and her and Oprah was having the discussion about spiritual hygiene and how so many people do not have spiritual hygiene. And and she is 100% right. She was talking about, what you need to do spiritually, because you wake up every day and you already do the physical hygiene. You wake up and you brush your teeth every day, but do you do something for your spiritual being? What do you do for that? Like, do you know how far you have come? And while they were having the discussion, they were doing a podcast, or one of Oprah book podcasts, because Ilania has written this new book called, yeah, Spiritual Hygiene, which is really interesting. I do have it on audio. I'm not yet finished reading it, so it would be hard for me to speak about the entire book. But mainly, what she's saying, the foundation of the book is that you need to have a spiritual hygiene. And they were talking about something about getting to that place, getting there, getting somewhere. And Oprah ended up saying that whenever she's hiking, because she goes out and hike a lot, and whenever she's hiking, especially if she's climbing, almost going up a mountain, look at my gloves. Do you see? I'm just sitting here nice and warm and toasty with my gloves and everything. Anyways, so she was saying whenever she's climbing a mountain, one of the things that she does really is instead of looking at how far she has to go, she actually would turn around and look back and see how far she has come. And this whole, what is it, methodology, it stays with me because, for one thing, it makes sense. And I know that it's making a lot of sense to you guys right now because it does make sense. And for another thing, it's actually really very helpful. And it's something that I've been doing a lot lately. This is something that is like a remembrance. You just have to remember that. Even today, with I was doing some kind of sacred things, and even today, as opposed to stay in the space of, oh my God, I have to do, X amount of this, instead of staying in that space and saying that I have to do so much of that, I decide to stay in the space of, look at how much I already gotten done. So the remembrance, developing the muscle, the brain muscle to remember that, look at how far you have come. And even though I was just talking about, we the system didn't set us up to really be successful in our retirement and living as single women, and or even like single women with children or whatever, the truth is, in a sense, I am more privileged because I just have to look after myself, really and truly. And I'm not technically single, but I am, but I'm not. I'll talk about that more maybe another time. And that's okay if I say that. I can always speak on it maybe another time. But my point is that if I look back on how much I have done last, nice coat. Yeah. Yeah. If I look back at how far I have come last year, sorry, there's people on the trail. You don't see them because I'm sitting a little bit off the trail. But it's just beautiful here. I have a bench over here, there's a bench over there. And all the bench is in memory of someone that is passed on. And this one is in memory of Beryl Hand, Hand. Could you imagine someone last name is Hand? Beryl Hand, with love and memory of a very special lady. I'm just reading the plaque on the bench. Why not? I'm here and I'm having this conversation, and I don't have to, it doesn't have to be a straight line. Nothing is really a straight line unless running 100-yard dash or whatever. All of life is winding and bending and flowing. And so I speak like that. I flow and I go around the corner and I go, and I run into a stone. Okay, so now I'm just kind of running along. But it's coming back to this whole idea of realizing that, I am privileged. And if I just look back at last year alone, I can see how far that I have come in 1 year alone. Last year, January, the truth is, I was not here in the winter. I chose to spend the winter in my other home, Grenada, the island of spice. So it was warm and it was hot. And around this time of the day, I was sitting on a beach chair, lounging, listening to maybe Mama Gina on audio, her book Pussy on audio in my ear, and watching the tourists go up and down. And, I had some kind of a fruit drink in my hand, local fruit. Maybe I was having a golden apple juice, or, something with ginger in it, and or a coconut water. That's last year, January. That's what I was doing. Or maybe I was preparing to do something else, but I was in the Caribbean. And that's it comes back to me saying that I'm privileged in the sense that I have this beautiful world, this dimension that I live in here, and then I can pack up and buy a ticket and go to Grenada and have that dimension and be there. And my privilege, in a sense, come in the fact when I go to Grenada, I go to my sister home. I go to what we call kind of like the family home for now. I go there. So I don't have to rent a place and I don't have to look for a place and pay a couple $1,000s in that. I get to live I do pay my way when I'm there in the house as well, so don't get it twisted. But I still get to have a little bit more spending cash because I know the island, and because I'm from there. I don't go and rent expensive cars. I don't rent expensive villas. I don't do any of that. I go to my sister house. I take the bus, the local bus that is only $2 for the local bus, and yeah. You know, it's very colorful, it's very noisy, it's very slow. You know, you can get a little bit annoyed here and there, but at the end of the story, when you get to spend a whole day, and which I do because I would go to the beach at 6 in the morning and do a nice long walk. And then, you know, later on in the day, I would just go there to chill out. So I get my exercise in and I get my chill time in. I get to see my family. I get to hang with my mother. And then when I'm ready, I come back to this country. So I am privileged. I am very privileged. And so that you know, where I live now, I am also, I've been very fortunate in that way. Yeah, I'm outside, it's cold. I've been very fortunate in the sense that I have an amazing landlord, and so I don't pay. My rent is not extreme, you know. So that I am really fortunate and very, very grateful for. Like 1,000%, I live in gratitude about that, right? So coming back to this whole idea that you can look back and see how far you have come as a as opposed to focusing on what you don't have and focusing on what it is you think you have failed off and telling yourself that you cannot do something different, you cannot begin again. I trust me when I say to take a look back, because even if you had a heartbreak, it's a year later, you probably is almost over it and you're healing. Unless you're one of those people that like to stay in an angry place, then there's not much I can do about that. But also, um, if you overcome, like you got fired from the job and you broke, but guess what? You still survive. You know, it's a year later, you're still alive. You may not have the best job right now, but you're probably still making a 2 cents, you know? Um, for me, last year, as I say, I was in Grenada, and that alone is like, I am clapping, like, oh my God, look how far I've come. I could have gone there and, I was there and I had a nice time. And um, and then there was certain part of the year, last year. But when I came back, although I was there and having a nice, good chill out time, when I came back, I was broke. And I mean, I was broke for months. I was broke from the end of February, March, April, May. I didn't start back my job until May, and I was broke. But here is the thing, the most unusual people was helping me, you know? People, I don't know. It was just, I was broke, but I wasn't broken, and I wasn't depressed, and I wasn't desolate. And because people show up and help me, I got real help. You know, I had two different friends that paid my rent in 2 different months without asking me for anything in return. They pay it as a gift. So when I say I'm privileged, um, I am, even though, I'm not white privilege, and that's not even what we are talking about. So get it, I get it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that I really and truly live a minimalistic kind of life. I live a simple life and I love my life, and I live in gratitude. Um, I live in this deep way of self development. Um, so I tend to, even if I'm having the worst experience, I tend to have the knowing, in a sense that ultimately I'm good because I'm not walking alone. And when I say I'm not walking alone, I know that I have invisible friends and real friends. So I have all of those things. Um, so yeah, so I do know that. So I understand when I say that I'm not walking alone. Anyways, I think I'm going to end the video here. I hope you found something out of all of it. Um, Please begin again. Don't be afraid. Reach out, talk to your friends, talk to who you need to talk to, and begin again. Also, do less and be more. And please like and subscribe to my channel. I don't know the light going from it, but what I'll do is I'm just going to give you guys a little bit. I hope you can see this properly, but there's the river going down, and I'm going to give you a little bit of, just around the corner and the trees. We're just on the path, and then I'll spin you back around and say, have a good evening.